Here's the first book in the actual book review series that I was going to do. I recorded the third one. Had this idea when, at the beginning of the year, this is the first book I read, 2025. The only one I've recorded so far is the third one. So when that one comes out, you'll see it's earlier because I'm in a different spot. I live in an entirely different place. But this is number one. I finished Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton in, I think February. Figured I'd review it, which is something I've been thinking about doing for a while now, since I'm an avid reader. I just don't really take time to sit and write out a script or jot my thoughts down, usually. I've only ever kind of thought about this. I'm in my Only Gains crop top, so that's probably not even fitting. To start, I guess right away, I'm not a fan of this book. I don't like this. About halfway through it, I knew I didn't like it. I did not care where it had to go. Part of me thinks that it's because of the expectations that I had for it. But then again, it was pitched to me about being like a zombie apocalypse scenario from animals' perspectives, which was vague enough of a description to not really give anything away, but still have me get the gist of it. A zombie apocalypse from the animal's perspective does sound intriguing. I was really excited to read the book when I got it. I got it for Christmas. My brother gave it to me. I don't know if he's read it before or if he just picked it up because he thought I would like it, but it jumped right to the top of my to-read list, and unfortunately, I don't think this book... Well, I think this book was a bit of a letdown. Not sure if I would go as far to say it's bad, per se. I mean, if you look at the back, like, people obviously like it. Those are all, like, reviews, positive reviews. Not from... Are any of them notable sources, I guess? Or they're just other authors? They're like New York Times bestselling authors reviewing the book, which, I don't know, I feel like everybody is a New York Times bestselling author, so... I'm not. But I definitely lost interest in it. I don't know if this is going to be nitpicky, but it is a review, so I guess we'll see how it goes. Might as well start with the main character and the narrator of this book, the bird right on the front. His name is Shit Turd, which was funny at first. Shit Turd. They just call him ST, but his name is Shit Turd. He's a pet crow with the personality of the most annoying person you've ever met. Shit Turd is a fitting name for this guy, for sure. He belonged to a man like his owner, and his owner is described as a bit of a loser. His name's Big Jim. He was a lonely, unkept slob of a man. However, ST was aware of it and still had love in his heart for him. Pretty much what happens is that ST's owner gets turned into a zombie somehow. ST found him in the basement. Zombified Big Jim attacked ST, so ST ran off with has another pet, a dog named Dennis. Somehow they get out of the house and explore the world without humans in it, or zombie humans. Except they don't call them humans. Shit Turd calls them mofos, which again was funny at first, but you know, Big Jim was the type of person to just call people motherfuckers or mofos. So ST being his pet, that's how he... It's just a lingo he picked up. Again, funny at first, definitely got old really quick. Another example of something that got old really quick would be ST's references to human things. For instance, he thinks that the greatest pleasure in life is eating Cheetos. I get that, like, from a pet bird perspective, maybe Cheetos are awesome, but it comes off as, to me, like early internet MERP humor and like lol random humor, like millennial cringe. And the author makes this Cheeto joke too many times, way too many times. Basically, ST and Dennis go on this big adventure around Seattle, but not really though. Most of this book takes place in zoos or aquariums, talking to other animals. In my opinion, the plot doesn't really move forward at all. There's a point where they meet an octopus that tells ST about the one who opens doors, which originally he thought it was about him. But after that, it's a lot of flying around zoos, yelling at animals. Sometimes there are fight scenes. But the thing about the fight scenes is they're very limited to the fact that these are animals, and like the main character is a bird. So like a lot of the descriptions are like flapping wings, pecking, and diving. Scratching and clawing. Buxton definitely did her best with what she was trying to do, but I do think them being animals, she kind of backed herself into a corner. Anyway, part of what makes this book hard to digest for me was not being exactly sure what lens to look at it through. It reads like a young adult book, except it also has like swears, adult humor, and mildly like graphic descriptions of things. Like if the language was softer and the humor was more tame, I could easily accept it as young adult, not expect anything more from it. Not really into young adult anymore, but I can appreciate it for what it was. Like I love Percy Jackson and Harry Potter and the Hunger Games books. Like I can accept a young adult book for what it is. But it's the parts where it tries to be more mature that throw me off. I don't know if it's on purpose, but to me it comes off as like trying to be edgy. Going back to humans being mofos and the literal narrator of the story being named Shit Turd. Jokes about Big Jim's creepy affection for women and bad Tinder dates when SC gets nostalgic about the past and like memories he has. And then even like in moments where the animals talk to each other, the vulgarity, it like feels shoehorned in.
This day is particularly lovely.
Like it feels like cursing for the sake of cursing, to have these words in, not as sentence enhancers. For instance, ST is supposed to be the hero at the end, being referenced as the one who keeps us safe. At the same time, though, he's written as if he's also supposed to be comedic relief with his lol random humor and vulgar one-liners. It's weird to say that, considering I curse and swear a lot, and I've said some really bad things, like telling people to kill themselves when video games make me angry. However, I just can't help but think that mature themes, like, they don't fit in this book. Not sure how else to explain it. Then it reads like if a YA book was trying to appeal to a mature audience. Hopefully that makes sense. To give the author some credit, there are cool aspects of the book. My favorite being what's called aura. So the aura is how animals communicate with each other, the birds at least, and there's different ones. It's described as something that humans can't hear or tune into, but it's always buzzing with noise. I feel like it's like not like the Force, but it's just, I imagine the way it's described, it's almost like everywhere is a busy public area where there's just, you can hear the talking, but you can't really make out what things are saying unless you like try on purpose. So birds calling out to each other, warning of predators, stuff like that. When the aura is quiet, that's usually an indicator of something being wrong, like predators in the area, for instance. So the animals stay quiet to not be heard. It could be quiet because no one is around either, which is a concern at the beginning of the book, because the aura is like, basically he doesn't hear anything, so he's like, where did everybody go? Marine animals have their own, it's called echo, which makes sense because, you know, echolocation, I think of dolphins. That was clever. And then seagulls are like bilingual, so like they can, you know, use the aura and the echo. And insects have their own, and it's called web. Like that, I like that. That's really good. If I had one good thing to say about this book, it's the way they communicate is very smart. The story definitely starts to get better, but it literally takes 200 pages. So you have to read all of this. This is what you have to read before I think it gets even kind of good. It takes way too long to hear what has actually happened to the human population. Like there's a big gathering of birds and they set off like scrambling of jets. And during this, like some domesticated parrot that Shit Turd knew before the zombie outbreak dumps a whole bunch of exposition that like I needed at the beginning, or at least, you know, in the middle. 200 pages. This is how many pages are in this book? 304. You have to read 2/3 of this before you even get an explanation as to why humans are zombies in the first place. I don't know. That seems too long to me. I get not doing it immediately at the beginning, so there's like mystery, but 2/3 of the book feels like a long time. Maybe I'm just critiquing to critique because I don't like it. But at this point in the story, there's another aspect that I enjoy. Basically, the top predators from the zoo and natural world are thriving, except for predatory birds for some reason. For whatever reason, predatory birds are not thriving. But the prey animals like end up uniting for a battle. They call all the trapped like the pets. Pets are called domestics, and I like the tribalism that is interesting, like separating the wild prey animals from the domestic ones. Those two groups needing to like unite, and then also for whatever reason the predatory birds as well. I don't know, for whatever reason the birds are cool, but the other predators aren't. They need to recruit the domesticated animals to help fight against the predators. Something about that I just like. As much as I dislike the book overall, there are definitely some gems that I like. It's too bad that they don't redeem the novel as a whole. Part of the problem is that ST is just so unlikable. I just don't like him, and he's the narrator, and he's the, person that's in this story the most. He has a legendary crash out at the end. And to be fair, that's part of his hero's journey, so like it needs to happen, but it was just a really annoying thing to read. Like he meets some other crows that tell him to basically return to monkey, accept the life of a wild crow, and try to, stop being domesticated. And he goes off about how there's this bird called Kari, how he's a bird brain and that ST is more human than crow, and it's, I don't know, it comes off kind of silly. And there's a lot more of that like shoehorned vulgarity for the sake of, it's swearing for the sake of swearing. Like when kids, it feels like when kids discover swears and they just want to use it. So they just say it, even though it doesn't like make sense.
My lips are tingling from the spiciness of this conversation.
Eventually ST realizes that Kari is right and the whole ego death thing happens. And that's all one chapter too, so it's like really fast. And the chapters aren't too long. I don't know how many there are. Oh, is there no table of contents? Well, there's no table of contents. 37 chapters in a book like this. They're not long. Honestly, some of the chapters are actually like 1 page long, because it'll be like, well, I'll talk about that later. Anyway, ST's character development crash out. It happens in 1 chapter, it's fast. There's a point where he gets hit really hard by something or whatever, and he can't fly anymore, which adds to his development, and that was interesting. He gets around by riding on Dennis, the dog that he lived with his owner before the apocalypse. Dennis is a bloodhound, if that matters to anybody. A point that gets made in this book a lot is when ST refers to like himself and Dennis, the dog, as a murder, like a murder of crows. And the murder does grow occasionally. They meet another domesticated dog named Cinnamon. She doesn't last very long though, because of the one who spits. When they eventually find the real one who opens doors, the murder basically becomes an army of various birds, mostly crows. Out of all the characters that come and go in the story, ST is still the most annoying one. One who opens doors. Spoiler, I guess. The one who opens doors is an orangutan from the zoo. He's cool. There's a domesticated cat that like claims the orangutan as her own, which I think is very cat-like. Which is like, oh, like this orangutan serves me. And I feel like that's very much cat behavior. I wish there was more time for them to be in the spotlight though. Like the cat gets her own POV sometimes, but mostly all the characters are narrated through ST, which is quite unfortunate because ST is incredibly annoying. One thing I gotta get used to is when I'm talking, I'm looking at myself in the OBS recording when I should look at the camera because that's where you are. I was gonna say it happens really late. Of course it happens at the end. The climax of the story is a battle between the one who conquers and a freaking bird navy that has a mast. Bird Air Force. Of course, like, the hero wins, no surprise, but, like, there are almost 2 climaxes to the story. I wouldn't even consider the first one to be a rising action because the action rises, climaxes, falls, and then rises again after a brief break. First climax is very quick though. It's a scrap between like the bird Air Force and I think what are supposed to be ostriches. They're like described as raptors, like dinosaurs. dinosaurs, but they're obviously not dinosaurs. Dennis the dog, he takes care of them through some means that I won't say. He gets a quick moment of being the hero before being killed in the most anticlimactic, unnecessary, absolutely ridiculous deaths ever written in a book. Again, contains spoilers. Dennis had absolutely no business dying, and it made me mad at how useless of a death it was. It didn't even add anything to the story. It wasn't even impactful. He just fucking dies. He just dies from being a stupid dog. Like, that's it. Like, immediately after saving the day, by being low-key a genius, because it was a good plan what he did. He did some distraction thing, and basically the ostriches all ran into a river and drowned. He sacrificed himself, sure. I'm all for characters dying in stories, but like, make it matter. He's like the sidekick of the hero, and his death is the equivalent to him just getting hit by a random car. Like, his plan isn't even what kills him. It's something else. It's meaningless. Even the chapter mourning his death was pitiful. It basically read like, ST mourned, and then the other birds mourned, and then the orangutan mourned, and then the cat mourned, and then the insects kind of mourned. Thankfully, the book ends really quickly after that. The battle with the one who conquers is so fast. It's messy too, like written messily. The one who conquers is actually, like, the one who conquers is actually a pack of wolves. And then a tiger or two show up for some reason, and then all of a sudden it's over. And then ST still can't walk, so he rides on an eagle, and then the ending is just ST going off about how Mother Nature is always right or something, and he pats himself, like, he does a lot of patting himself on the back too. I just can't stand him, and I'm glad that the book was over. I wouldn't recommend this book to anybody that I know personally. Maybe if someone wanted to see how bad it was, that would be one thing. For instance, I had my ex read Ready Player 2 one time because I needed her to see for herself how awful it was. But like, maybe if a cousin or like a friend's kid gets to the age where they're aging out of YA novels, then this might be a good recommendation. I think it's fitting for a high school student, but like, I read it this year, but I was 27 at the time. I was a 27-year-old at the time. He's been reading for years. It's just really boring. Not that I think rating matters, but I think I would give this like a 2 out of 5. Maybe like a 3 out of 10. Not quite sure how I'd rate it. I don't think ratings are even worth it or meaningful anyway, but that's mine. 2 out of 5, 3 out of 10. The thing I liked about it, the aura, the echo of the web, the like tribalism between the wilds and the domestics, and then like the predators and the prey. Honestly, ST annoying me, and every single time he makes a reference to eating Cheetos, I just feel the need to take away a point. It's not exactly however many times, but God, every time I read it, I just want to put the book down. I heard him being like, oh, like Cheetos, oh, if only I could be munching on some Cheetos right now. Groan. Anyway, that's it. Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. I say all this, I do hope someone out there likes it. Like, it can't be a New York Times bestseller for no reason, right? Wait, that's right. It says her writing has appeared in the New York Times. Rumpus, Huffington Post, NewYorker.com. This is not one of them. This is not New York Times bestselling. Let's make sure that's true. Her writings are in the New York Times. This book is not New York Times bestseller. Let's see. It was a finalist for the Thurber Prize. Good Housekeeping ranked it number 53 on the list of the 60 best books of 2019. I guess that's not nothing. NPR called it joyfully original. They said ST's a brilliant narrator, despite or because of his incomplete understanding of human culture. Publishers Weekly considered it hilarious. Probably, I'll agree that it's fresh. It's new. It's like a different way to think about it, especially think about a zombie apocalypse. Okay, I like this one. Whatever Locust is. Locust found it to be pleasing with the same ups and downs, the same gains and losses as any classic pet adventure. That's fine. But I think that's crazy. So yeah, it's not New York Times bestselling. And I see why. And honestly, this Wikipedia isn't even very long. I like the cover though. The cover is good. The title's good. The aura, echo, and web, and the tribalism were good. Besides that, I hated this book. I hated reading it. There were days where I like picked it up and read a chapter and was like, I'm done. I think so far, I won't show them. I have, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've read 7 books this year. This is easily the worst one. So we're really starting off cold with this one.